I'm heading out on my bike from my hometown of Bath to a hot tent camp up on the Mendips. In fact, it's going to be on the course of an old Roman road. I'm going to be hot tent camping tonight in my teepee tent. I've got my foldable titanium wood burner, so it should be very cosy. I'm going to be cooking a curry. Just before we start the long climb up on the Mendips, I'm going to pull into a Tesco's on the outskirts of Poulton, pick up some beer, some water, etc. And then I'll see you up on the Mendips. It's coming up. It's just gone 1 PM. I stopped at Tesco's around about midday and I've stocked up with quite a lot of extra weight. I'll show you what I've got. And I've done my first half the climb up on the Mendips. I'm up on this elevation now for quite a while. And I'm just going to have my lunch here at St Mary the Virgin Church. So I bought most of my food with me because I'm having curry. I really fancied Cobra Beer, so I've got 2 bottles of Cobra Beer. I've got 2 big bottles of mineral water, and as I went into Tesco, you could either have light wood kindling or kilned dried logs. That's heavy wood, and I do know my wood burner is quite hungry. Actually, it takes a lot of wood, so it's much heavier, a couple of pounds more expensive as well, but I think the payback is that'll last much longer, especially when I start chopping it down. I've got my bow saw with me as well because I found my old Backer one was just no good for hot tent camping. It's okay for the stick burner, which I've also got with me for tomorrow morning, but it's just no good for chopping logs. It's coming up to 5 PM now and I'm just going to light my fire. I didn't film coming in because I've done lots of that before. And also there's plenty of videos out there, isn't there, with people chopping wood and, you know, opening bottles and pouring water. I just really needed to spend a couple of hours getting here and getting this wood. Quite a bit of dryish stuff, but I'm going to put it on the wood dryer on there. And then I've got the stuff there I chopped up. That's the stuff I bought at Tesco's. I've been and cut some smaller stuff down for tinder kindling. So I'm just going to start the fire now. I bought my fire starting kit up. I've said it before, just some old bits of cardboard for a platform and to get it going, and some of these cotton makeup wipes. They come in a bag of hundreds, I can't remember how many, but I've had them for years. And I've put a couple of logs in there, and then I've put a brace across. So basically I'm going to just ignite this, put it in between the 2 logs, and then start putting the tinder on top. Okay, here we go. That's it going already. Oh, and I've got some of these fire starters as well. It's just old sweepings from woodwork shops with all the oil inside. They burn for about 5 or 6 minutes. That's really good to get it going. Okay, I'll show you inside. That's it going. See, I've braced it either side. I'm just going to start putting smaller bits across to get it going. Doesn't take long, this. Try not to smother it. Okay, I'm just going to shut the door. Keep the vents wide open, and just give it a chance to ignite. That won't take long. I can see it going already. Within about a minute, it's going quite well already. Start feeding some of the bigger logs on. And that will very soon start pumping out a lot of heat. From about 1,000 feet up on the Mendips, I've just ridden up here on my bicycle and I'm camped very close to the remains of an old Roman road. I'm in my hot tent. I've just lit my titanium wood stove. I've got my Christmas lights on. It's all very cosy up here. I've just got some water boiling. That's going to be for my washing up later on. And that's a collapsible wood dryer. That's some of the wood I cut earlier on. There's all my wood piles there, big, medium, small. Most of that's gone, so I use that to start the fire. It's very cosy in there. I've just had to take my fleece off because that's too hot. I'm in t-shirt already. These things really pump out a bit of heat. I'm going to show you how much heat in a minute. So for my tea tonight, I've got this curry kit. There's some oil, my trusty frying pan. That used to have a retractable handle and it broke about 3 or 4 years ago. It's like Wilson, you know, on that Thomas film. I just couldn't bear to get rid of it. So I just use this old Trangia handle. It works perfectly. I'm going to chop some chicken breasts up, fry it. I've got some gel because I'm touching uncooked meat. I've bought a naan bread up. I'm going to try and just put that on the top of the burner and see if that just warms it up. And then if I'm still hungry, I don't think I will be, but if I am, I've got a chocolate pudding for dessert. And in the morning, I've got an all-day breakfast. We pick these up and go outdoors, really cheap. I've been Blackpool recently. Oh, and there's some Wetherspoons ketchups. So yeah, I bought an infrared thermometer up. It throws an infrared beam and it gives you readouts. So let's see what it is outside. About 10.5. I fire it outside of the tent, 18.3. Now look if I fire it on the flue of the chimney. Getting on for what, 190 degrees. And what's that? A couple of minutes ago that was up to 300 degrees. This is Celsius as well. The bigger of the two numbers. So yeah, pumping out a lot of heat. Okay, it was quite hard work getting all this kit up here. I'm only about 25 miles from home, but yeah, go on, I burnt a few calories lugging all this stuff up onto me. Oh, here's my fridge. Well, I say fridge outdoors, because I'm having curry. I thought Cobra beer was appropriate. And there's no water, just sat outside chilling. Me and Linda were in Sainsbury's and we saw these curry kits, and the one that caught my eye was a chicken korma for 80p. So I think it must have been coming to the end of its shelf life. And so we picked that up to try it. But also I sort of said I'll take this tikka masala one camping. And this was, I think it's £2.60 or £2.80. I'm going to do chicken, so I've got my chicken breast there ready to cut. So you get 3 sachets. You get powder, a paste which you've got to add some water to, and then the sauce. So it's a 3-stage process. First of all, I chop up and dice the chicken, sprinkle in all the curry powder, and then fry that until it's cooked. Secondly, you make up the paste. You actually have to add 50 millilitres of water to that. And I gauge that's about 3 1/4 tablespoons full of water. So I don't have a measuring vessel with me. I've just got to guesstimate that. Then you add that to the chicken that's already been fried, cook for 3 minutes, and then eventually you stir in the sauce and you simmer that for 15 minutes. Fired the stove back up, got the oil heating. That's all the chicken breast chopped with the curry powder. Wipes, some hand gel, and have your towel ready. So I'm just going to put that in the frying pan, and it says cook it until sealed. A lovely sizzle of frying chicken. I like my chicken quite brown. That's had several minutes and I've turned it quite a few times to make sure there's no white or pink meat left. I'm just going to pour this paste in. It's going to make a nice sizzling sound, I expect. Oh no, just dampened it. So I just need to stir that for about 3 minutes. I've put it up near the flue because I find that's the hottest part where the most heat comes. I need to use both hands to this, otherwise I'm going to tip it. That's it, bubbling away in the paste. Back on the back of the burner now. It's got really hot suddenly, and that's the sauce going in. Again, I'll have to put the camera away just to squeeze all the dregs at the bottom. Then it's going to be 15 minutes and it'll be ready. Okay, that's the sauce in. Just going to stir that for 15 minutes. with about 5 minutes to go, I'm going to take the wood drying off the back and then put the naan bread there, see if I can warm that up. Okay, with the minute to go, it looks all very nice. The curry's been simmering in its sauce about 15 minutes. I heated up the naan bread in covered silver paper for about 5 minutes. I've just opened it up, it was very, very warm, sprinkled some water on it, and within about a minute or so it'll be ready to dish up. And I've already started my first beer. Bon appetit! I've just popped out a bit just to check my bike is all locked up against a tree. Pitch black in here, although I can hear a B road a few hundred yards over there. So that B road actually follows the course of this Roman road, Margreaves 45B, from Old Sarum up to the lead mines at Chartreuse on West Mendip. But the modern road snakes round to ease the gradient. The Roman roads were just literally came straight up over the hill, cut across through there, and it re-emerges near the Castle of Comfort pub in about a mile or so's time, and that's where it rejoins the course of the B road. That's looking back at my cosy hot tent. It's only a single skin with a single pole, but you never seem to get any condensation in there actually, considering, you know, that it's so different in temperature with the stove. The stove pipe, the flue, clips into the stove and actually comes up through, they call this a stove jack. It's basically a heat reflective, heat resistant material, a bit like an oven glove or a soldering pad. But the flue itself is really, really clever. It's got what they call shape memory. So when I roll it up tomorrow, it'll roll up about the size of a bicycle pump, a little bit wider, that direction. But when I roll it out to use it, as I did earlier on, it just rolls out that way. It's quite noisy and it goes into the flue shape. And all you do is put these rings down it. They're like bangles. And that at the top there, it's like a little cap you put on the top. It's called a spark arrestor. So the idea is any sparks that come up, hit that and go back down the flue, but it still allows the smoke to come out. I have got one or two little burns in the tent actually. I've just put tent repair tape on it. It's just like very strong sellotape either side. Apart from that, no problems. God, I'm going to go back in. Actually, it's quite chilly out here in a t-shirt. Well, you notice a difference the minute you come in. Boiling some more water. I'm just boiling some soapy water in my frying pan. That's the best way I've ever found to clean a frying pan out. Back in this tent. I position the stove about 45 degrees diagonally across the entrance. I just learned that through trial and error really. It allows me to easily access the door to feed the wood in, you can see. But also now when I chill out, it just allows me to look at that ambient light come through the side window. You get a better idea if I switch the camera light off. Let's show you. So cozy here, this pitch black wood, a couple of 100 yards from a Roman road. Looking forward to Christmas. Merry Christmas everybody, and all the best for 2024. And just looking at that lovely glow through the side window of the Woods Walker titanium wood burner. It's mid-evening now in my hot tent camp on the Mendip Hills, right next to an old Roman road. I've done all my washing and drying, everything's put away ready for the morning. Something really satisfying about that. Shut the door down, all hunkered in for the night. Got several logs left so I can keep feeding the fire for the next several hours. Just lovely here, just sat looking at a side window, feeling all the warmth. Just thinking about who would have travelled along this Roman road 2,000 years ago, and the accommodation really, because I'm pretty sure there would have been some accommodation up here. I won't go into details, but you know, I think there would have been a mansio, which is the equivalent of a travel lodge, or a station, equivalent of a motorway services, because the average distance travelled on a Roman road would have been about 12 to 16 miles, and most of this road is on high ground, so there would have almost certainly been some form of accommodation for overnight stops up here. I can't say where exactly. I'm just lying here thinking about that really. I just got the infrared gun out again and I fired it at the wall of the tent, and it was 24.5 degrees. Now, if your front room was that warm, you'd probably want to turn the central heating down. And I fired it at the top as well, and it's 36.5 degrees up there. Oh, by the way, that white thing up there, top of the pole, that's a CO alarm. I always bring one. And I did set it off a couple of times in my early days of hot tent camping. I made beginner's mistakes. I started lighting the fire with the dampeners closed and things like that, and it set it off. So I would urge anybody, if they're going to try hot tent camping, bring a carbon monoxide detector and an alarm. It's a silent killer. Anyway, I don't want to finish this video off on a negative note. I'll say good night. Well, it's 4:40 AM and I just woke up and I needed to go outside to the loo. And I'm fairly awake anyway, and I did keep one log back last night. I was going to split it with my axe, and I bought my foldable stick stove, and I thought, you know, if I'm cold in the morning I can just use that, because I didn't want a fire in that just before packing up. But considering I'll still be here for about another 6 hours, I thought I'll use the last log in that. Because it wasn't split, I thought I might have a job getting it going, but I'd had one small bit of tinder left and those little wood oily shaving starters, and it seems to be going okay actually, so it's quite nice. 4:40 in the morning, I am wide awake. I've also got a Trangia stove to cook my breakfast on. I bought that out because I just need to basically boil some water, so that should be easy enough to do. It's very nice. So 20 to 5 in the morning, just looking at that. Again, I'll turn the lights out to give you an idea of what it's like in here. When you start the fire, as the temperature builds up, you do get a little bit of smoke on the inside of the window. You can see it there, that black patch, and that soon burns away. You can see the front is still clear. That may or may not burn away because I've only got the one log, so when that goes, that's it. But I can always wipe that off at home. I've got the dampener open on the flue, and the vents at the front on the door fully open, because I really want to just burn that log off as quickly as possible. I don't want any glowing embers for hours and hours, so it will be a quick burn. But last night I put my tea towel just in front of the wood burner, because even about a foot away it dries it. And I've just got my coat on now, my cycling coat, because that got a little bit wet from sweat yesterday coming up here, so that's drying off nicely. My shoes are already done now on the other side. That's burning off quite quickly. I've already had to take my fleece off, so I put that on to go outside, and already just with the one log, it's so warm in here already. And last night, just as I was nodding off, you know, the logs had sort of pretty much burnt themselves out. They're just some glowing embers, and I was just nodding off and I heard a big crack, and of course it was just the metal of the wood burner and the flue just contracting, I suppose, and just creaking, and one of them went off at quite a thud. It really made me jump. Okay, it's 10 to 7 and it's still dark, but a bit of an update. About 40 minutes ago, I guess it would have been around about 6 AM, the whole tent lit up by quite a bright light, and I heard a few cars on the distant road, and I thought, that can't be the car headlights coming through surely, and it seemed to move, and then it was stationary, and I unzipped the rear door of the tent, because there's two. There's one by the burner and then there's one facing the road, and there's some really big LED lights over there. And I think it's the workers who are working in the woods at the moment. It did say there was forestry work going on when I came in yesterday, so be careful. So it's perfectly safe, this spot. I knew that when I set the tent up. There's no way vehicles could get through here. I had a job getting my bike here. But I'm very aware there's going to be activity later on. So I've started packing up. I've got all my sleeping kit put away, and I'm starting to put things in piles, even though it's still dark. You may see I've just got the head torch on, but set to red. So I'm just getting some breakfast on. I've just put the Trangia burner on, I would normally let that flare up a little bit before I put the pot on top, but I just don't want the tent to be illuminated and flickering. Ironically, as it gets a bit lighter, I think I'll become more invisible because it's a green tent and I'll be sort of camouflaged and hidden amongst trees. But as you can imagine, anybody who's back at the moment sort of sees bright, flickering, triangular sort of structure in the woods. They're probably going to come and investigate, if that makes sense. Anyway, water on for coffee, and then as soon as I pour that, I'll put my board in a bag, all day breakfast in. Just boiled the water, made the first cup of coffee. The dregs of the water, I've just plunged the all day breakfast into that. Just bring that back to boil, then boil that for 8 minutes. That's the boil in the bag breakfast, all scrunched up and in the pan. Put the lid back on, but you can sort of see there's a little bit of wind coming through the entrance. I've got the Trangia burner on top of the wood burner because the heat's dispersed hours ago, and I've got the door wide open, just letting loads of cold air in. I've also got the door of the tent wide open. Hopefully by the time I've had my coffee and my breakfast, it'd be getting on for 8 and it'd be light, and I think I'll be more camouflaged in the light actually, because I'm fairly enclosed by trees here. And I actually just stood outside actually to see if you could even see the tent being lit up by the, what you can see as a flame, and you couldn't see it at all. Again, apologies for the low quality of the filming. I don't put a camera light on. That's looking south. Just through the gap in the trees there, you can see the red lights going up vertically, the Mendip transmitter. I saw that last night, so I was hunkering down. And right over there is a space, an area of woodland that's recently been cleared. And you may just see the light over there. Not sure if it's coming out on camera. Really bright LED lights. There's some activity going on over there. I can hear some knocking and some banging, just flashing. So that's what I've got to be a little bit careful of. I don't think they'll see me once it gets light because I won't need lights, but I will be packing up quite early. That's about 7:30 AM on a mid-December morning. All I could hear last night was just the wind blowing through the trees, and yes, I did do a survey before I put my tent up. I did an upright tree survey just to make sure there was no branches that are likely to come down, but this is a plantation. It's all pretty much straight coniferous trees with very small branches coming off. Pretty much packed up. That's where I was last night. I've just scuffed the ground down. You would never know I was there. That's where I chopped my wood. Nice little bark of a tree there. I've just dug a pit and scattered all the ashes from the wood burner. It's very cool, but I doused it with, well, via the planet Uranus, and also used the last of my bottled water just after cleaning my teeth, so there's no risk of a fire. And I've got everything on a ground sheet to pack in my panniers. What I found is, again through trial and error, because the Woods Walker stove comes in quite a bulky canvas bag, I put lots of things in there like my axe, my folding bow saw, smoke alarm, but I also put the tent pegs and the pole in there, which means I can pack the tent up really small in a stuff sack. It's the second smallest one. I mean, modern tents are designed to be packed down that small. Temporarily, it'll be packed properly at home. And it may look a bit haphazard, but it's all sort of in piles because I'm a bit forgetful. So there's my cooking pile, wash pile, clothes. That's all my sleep system, electronics. Not going to put my high vis on until I just leave. Now all I've got to do is get this in the 4 panniers. But because I had to scramble across little ditches last night, I'm going to walk the panniers across and then walk the bike across. I tried not to do that last night and it came back to bite me. I snapped one of the hooks off on the front pannier, so that was flapping about literally just final 100 yards. So I'll have to rig up something. I've got some bungee cords there, so one of those will probably do it. That's all my waste, shouldn't need to be said, but I'll take everything out. The only thing I've left is natural waste, and it's been a fantastic camp. There's the track over there, which I'll use to get out these woods, so it's not far to manhandle all the stuff over there. And then I'll be heading down. It's mostly downhill on the way home actually. I'm going to stop at Chilcompton Co-op for lunch. They do some pretty nice pizza slices there. About 100 yards back along the road there's a nice little sun trap of a village green and a seat. Anyway, be on my way shortly. Just emerged from the woods about 100 yards back, and I'll be leaving on this forestry track. See a lorry along there. If I zoom in, doing some logging. So just loading up. I can see he's got a crane putting cut logs onto the back of a flat backed lorry. I was definitely listening out for any signs of sawing or bringing trees down. My reasoning was, look, they ain't going to do it in the dark, and as long as I've gone by the time it's light. And also there was a warning at the entrance when I came in yesterday saying there was logging going on, forestry work, you know, and the warning was, you can see and hear them, but can they see and hear you? So I was very aware that there could be some activity, and that's why I made sure I was in there in dense woodland. And you can see where it's been cut the last few years. You can see I've got one hook on the pannier rack, and that's to lock it in to stop them jumping out, but the front one is snapped. So I've used a bungee with a lot of tension on it to stop it sort of dropping. It is going to slide forward a little bit. So what I've done this morning is put very little in that. Most of the heavy stuff is in that pannier, which is why it appears to be bulging a little bit. Clearly, if I gather up any speed going downhill on a fast road, I'll be keeping my eye on that for sure. Anyway, time to go. It's been a wonderful camp. Should bear round to the right and take us back on that B road. Yeah, I better put the camera away because this requires some concentration, so I better put the camera away. It's coming up to 1 PM and I've made quite good progress. It's been mostly downhill, plus the wind's been behind me, plus I've had the added incentive is there's some rain in the air, so I want to get home in the dry really. It's been a fantastic wild camp. Hope you've enjoyed coming along. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas in 2023. If you're watching this after Christmas, hope you had a nice Christmas with you and your family. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.